Hi, and welcome to this 30-minute gentle practice focused on the shoulders. We'll close this 30-minute restful, nourishing practice with a meditation on forgiveness. So things that might be helpful for you in your practice today are a block, a bolster, and maybe a blanket. And I also encourage you to take the time to light a candle or some incense. If you need to pause the video, please do so in order to really set the bhav or the mood of your space so that you can really enjoy. So we'll start off with a yin stretch, which means that we'll hold this for about 2 minutes or so. It's Anahatasana. You'll come to your hands and your knees. To start, this is how we'll be easing into the thoracic spine and the shoulders. You can keep your hips where they are and start to walk your hands away from you. And then lower your forehead to a block or to your mat. So yin is not completely surrendered all the time like restorative is. There's a little bit of engagement still. So feel some weight down through your palms. The forearms are lifted. And then feel a lot of space through the back of your heart. And since this is our first shape, use this as an opportunity to check in, to see where you can soften, to notice how you're feeling today. And simply allow whatever you notice to be there. Enjoy this moment of stillness, of not having to do or accomplish or hurry. Simply to receive and to stay present. Take another full breath in and a full breath out. And then lift your head and slowly walk your hands back underneath your shoulders, just coming back the same way we came in. And very, very gentle movement of the shoulder blades here. Start to press your hands down into the mat until your shoulder blades wing off the sides of the body. Your arms are still straight. Keep your elbows straight and then sink your shoulder blades back. So nothing is really happening in my spine. I'm just protracting the shoulders, pressing them down towards the earth, and retracting the shoulders, plugging them onto the back body. Do that a few more times. This is sometimes known as scapula push-ups. And it might not feel like a whole lot is going on here, but we're working some very important muscles. And really sync your breath with the movement. Good. Finish up whichever round you're on and then find a comfortable seat. I'm going to come to kneeling. You might prefer to sit up on a bolster or a blanket in a cross-legged position. And from here, I invite you to take your hands and spread them wide and reach your arms behind you by squeezing the shoulder blades together. Take a full breath in. And just hold here like you're hugging the world. And a full breath out. Inhale deeply. Then as you exhale, begin to sweep your arms forward. Cross your right arm underneath your left, and then wrap your arms into eagle or Garudasana, arms. Lift your elbows up. Press your arms away from you. So you're finding that protraction of the shoulders, reaching the shoulder blades forward. And then tilt your forearms away from you and start to round through your upper back. Drop your chin. Move with your breath. Inhale, sit up tall. Unwind your arms. Reach them back behind you. This time keep going and interlace your fingers behind you at the base of your sacrum. Roll your shoulders back and start to stretch your palms away from your body. Dip your chin down towards your chest. And then as you lift your arms towards the sky, roll your head a little bit over to the left. Dip your chin back down and then over to the right. And really go slow and investigate all the little corners and crannies and sensations that you find. Really, really gentle movement of the neck here. And then with your next inhale, take your arms back out to your sides. And exhale, reach them forward, this time left arm underneath right. Wrap your arms. Press your elbows up towards the sky. Protract your shoulders, so you're reaching your shoulder blades forward. Tilt your forearms away from you. And then start to round through your upper back and drop your head. And find about 5 sweet full breaths here. Inhale, sit up tall. Untangle your arms, sweep them behind you, and then interlace your fingers again. Your second favorite way, the way that feels a little bit peculiar. Roll your shoulder blades back, lift your forearms away from your low spine. And again, make some movements in the neck here. This time you might even dip your head back in space a little bit. Be really gentle if you choose this. You can also continue to go forward, chin towards chest. Just a little bit of really easeful movement here through the neck. Good, and then inhale to take your arms out wide. Reach them forward, this time interlace your fingers in front of you. Flip your palms open and take your arms up to the sky. Notice if your ribs are pressing forward, draw them back. Press up through the heels of your hands. Squeeze your elbow blades together and then send your upper arms back and space a little bit if there's room without pressing your chin forward. Another full breath in. And then as you exhale, gently release your arms back down. Take your palms up on your thighs, however you're seated, and just close your eyes. Connect to your breath and notice what feels more activated or tingly or aware in your body. Notice if the mind also feels any different. And then take your left hand to your right upper shoulder and just give yourself a little bit of a massage. So squeeze your upper traps here from the top of your arm all the way up along the side of your neck. Just a few times. And maybe you kind of walk your fingers into these spaces, promoting some blood flow. And then release your head over to the left shoulder for about a breath or two. And then releasing over to the other side, right hand to left shoulder. And first just some big palm squeezes. So use your whole hand and sort of squeeze in and lift up a little bit on the skin. Self-massage is so nice. And then press your fingers. You might walk them along the space above your collarbone and let your head release over to your right shoulder. And then come back to center, and we're gonna make our way now to our meditation posture. So if you prefer to remain seated for meditation, again, you can use any of the props that we have to elevate your hips and sit up tall. I also invite you to lie down for this meditation. It's perfectly acceptable to lie down as you meditate. Two options that I'll offer here. One is to take your blanket, and it can really be in any shape, and to sort of roll it up into a nice long roll. And then you'll use that to support the back of your heart. So you're just scooping up the very back of your heart. Make sure that the tops of your shoulder blades are on the floor as well as your head. And then you can cactus the arms. And maybe knees fall in towards one another and feet go wide. So this is one option. It's really nice and gentle. Second option, a little bit more of a lift, is to do the same thing but with your yoga block. So you can take the block and place it underneath your heart. And same thing, we really want to make sure that the head is grounded, and you might find these goalpost arms. And you can take your legs out long or keep your knees bent, feet wide, and maybe the knees touch. And in this variation, the tops of your shoulders probably won't find the floor. So if that doesn't feel as stable for you, please go back to the blanket. The blanket is nice because you can control exactly how high you make this form of support. And then as you're getting settled, really begin to drop down towards the earth, feeling a sense of softening. Wherever you can access it. Maybe around the eyes, the jaw, the fingers, the toes. If you're lying down, really try to lie down, dropping everything. And if you're seated, find that balance between earth and sky. Energy moving both down and up. And wherever you are, there's a balance between alertness and receptivity. And you might begin to feel the breath at the heart. And feel the mood of this moment within your heart. Begin to listen inwardly. Listen to your intention. Perhaps during this practice to in some way open your heart, free your heart as we practice together. And begin to scan through your life, bringing to mind some aspect of yourself or some behavior. It could be from the past or it could be current that has felt unforgivable. And the encouragement is not to pick something that feels deeply traumatizing. You can sense for yourself, choose something that feels workable, where there's a state of readiness. You might ask, how have you been pushing yourself out of your own heart? Perhaps you feel that you're too judgmental or controlling, impatient, unkind. Or maybe there is a particular way that you've hurt others that matter to you. Maybe you sense some way that you've harmed your own life, perhaps with an addictive behavior or other damaging pattern. And as you're sensing what feels unforgivable, you might just really lean in and sense, what is it that's so wrong or bad about this behavior or emotion or way of thinking? In other words, let yourself feel the aversion that's there. What is the worst part of this for you? Allow your attention to explore more deeply. What is driving this part of you that's acting in an unacceptable way? And sense the behavior, sense what drives it. You might ask yourself, what needs are you trying to satisfy? What fears are you trying to soothe? And what's going on inside of you when you're in some way acting out in a way that you then condemn? If you have wounded another person, you might ask yourself if you were acting from hurt, from insecurity, or out of the need to feel in control and safe. See if you can witness yourself in your vulnerability through the eyes of the most understanding and loving friend or teacher, perhaps a relative or deity. So you're really beginning to see how you have your leg in a trap, so to speak, when you're acting in the ways that you condemn. And as you become aware of any underlying wants and fears, allow yourself to feel them directly in your body, your heart, your mind. Even though you dislike the behaviors, try to hold the underlying vulnerability with compassion. You might experiment with placing your hand on your heart to really be in relationship with the part of you that's having a hard time, the part of you that's vulnerable. You might sense what message, what communication of self-forgiveness would be most healing. You might simply offer yourself the words, forgiven, forgiven. There may be other words that arise, like it's okay, I care about the suffering. Or it might be a sort of wordless energy of compassion. See if you can meet whatever is arising right now, whether it's fear or judgment or shame or grief, with this message of forgiveness. Forgiven. Forgiven. If it's helpful, you might go back to the image of someone you consider to be really loving and feel their compassion falling into you, their mercy and their kindness. If you feel stuck, you can remind yourself, it's my intention to forgive myself when I'm able. And so more and more there's a sense of the space that is including whatever is here with forgiveness. More and more you're resting in a truth or a wholeness of being that is inherently tender and kind. If you use the image of someone to help you, you might thank that being for guiding you and protecting you, and ask for their continued support. Again, if it feels good to keep a hand or to place a hand somewhere on your body to connect, please do so. If there's anything else that these last few moments need in order to feel complete, please take that time. And I invite you to stay and simmer and rest here for as long as is beneficial for you. And I thank you so much for your practice.